Well, hello and welcome to Midweek Metal Podcast, The Crew. Talking about things happening in the world of metal, about album releases, gigs coming up, and gigs we've been to, and whatever we find ourselves delving into. All unscripted. I shall say hello, James. My co-host and long metalhead friend.
Very
How
well.
are you?
Thank you. You good?
Good. And yeah, I'm good, thank you. And hello, Aaron, my our media man and even longer metalhead friend. How are you?
Yeah, all good, thanks, man.
Very good. Yeah, man. All good. And what should we get off to? Lamb of God?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Lamb of God new album, Omens, a 10-song extravaganza, if you will.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
We need a bit more on that, James.
I really, really like it. What's next?
Yeah, man. Well, yeah, next. Yeah, man. It sounds really. It does sound awesome. It sounds like they've not really done a bad album, I'd say, but it sounds sort of like back to their good stuff, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I definitely think the last two albums have been slightly better. The self-titled is good. Sturm and Drang was a bit hit and miss, I think. It had some good songs on it, but it wasn't quite up to their standard. This new one definitely sounds like it's got, you can hear a lot of rap in it, I think, and a lot more of their earlier stuff.
Yeah, man. I think Art Cruz is just a great replacement for Chris Adler.
Yeah. I'd never even heard of him before, to be honest.
Same here.
Yeah, same. But yeah, they've come up.
Go on, sorry.
No, go on, mate.
I was just going to say the last couple of albums, like Aaron was saying, it's just got a certain feel about them. I was having a second listen to it today, and it just seems like the drums are a lot more up front than their previous albums. And it's just so good. Like you say, it's a really awesome replacement. It's just
yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, I think so. They're playing Brixton. Is it next month?
Yeah, I think it's Brixton.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it's Brixton. I can't. It's been bloody. How long we had them tickets now? 2.5 years, something like that.
Oh, check.
I think it's next month at some point. And playing with Thy Art Is Murder now. I think creator as well, but Thy Art Is Murder. Never seen him before, and I am a fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen them before. They're constantly on the road. It's 360 dates or something.
Yeah, man, 213 or whatever it is, that bloody the tour dates of that show over 2 years is fucking ridiculous.
I reckon they just gave up their houses so they didn't have to pay rent and decided to live on the road.
He's solid.
Sounds like a good swap.
All right, it's December 13th at Brixton Academy.
The month after, not next month. Fair enough. Yeah, awesome. Song-wise, I mean, I think this album, just the first 4 songs, Nevermore, Vanishing, To the Grave, and Ditch, them first 4 tracks, just start the album off killer, man.
Yeah, they're wicked. They are really good.
I think, and it goes on from there, and yeah, it's a whole album of just heaviness. Lamb of God. It's just Lamb of God. It's sort of hard to put them in. What are they? American heavy metal? Are they
were
sort of
part of the
seen as
new wave of American heavy metal? in the early 2000s, along with like Kill Switch and is it Shadows 4? They all sort of came around at the same time.
Okay, yeah. But there been obviously Burn the Priest previous to that. I know. Was that in late 90s or mid 90s?
Yeah. Burn the Priest was New American Gospel was 2000.
Oh, blimey. So, yeah, it's later than I thought.
Yeah. So Burn the Priest would have been 98, 99. New American Gospel was the first Lamb of God album of 2000.
Damn. Nice. Yeah, gone from strength to strength from there. Now they're sort of would you say they're one of the biggest metal bands on the planet?
Yeah. I would thought they would have been bigger by now, to be honest. They always seem to be ready to step into that Pantera sized band, but never quite got there. Still playing sort of academies rather than arenas.
At least they haven't sold
Headline
out.
shows. True. There's no headline shows at festivals or something that I can remember.
Only Bloodstock.
Oh, of course. Yeah, they headline Bloodstock. Of course they did. Cool. Yeah, man. But sort of, I never like to give albums a 10 out of 10 because I think there's always room for improvement. Out of 10,
solid 8 for me.
James, you go first.
8.
8.
Yeah, good solid 8. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's easily an 8.
Yeah, I'd go around the same ballpark. 8. If there were halves, I'm 8.5. I might go there. Cool. Yeah. So, Lamb of Godman's. I suppose you've got to go and check it out. Next, we'll let's talk about a gig we went to recently. Parkway Drive at Alexandra Palace. If anyone else was there, then obviously you witnessed the same bands that we saw. But let's just forget about Parkway a minute because we can have our own opinions on that. Lorna Shore started off with, what do you think about them, James?
See, I wish I would have sort of heard a little bit more before I saw them. I only heard a couple of tracks that you'd showed me previous to that, but I've only just really started getting into them after. So I didn't really sort of fully appreciate, I guess. I mean, they were awesome. Don't get me wrong, but I'm now starting to sort of go back to the Immortal album and all the stuff that they've released with Will. I'm loving it, man. It's so good. And of course, got a new album coming out in 2 days. I'm really stoked about. But yeah, I'll definitely see them again. Yeah, they were awesome live. Yeah, it's dirty. It was so good.
James loving the deathcore.
Oh no, I've switched. I don't know what that
filthiness.
Yeah, you sent me
come to the
was it as you're into this stuff now, check this one out. This was what was it, the latest album from My Art Is Murder. Listen to it all the way through with this constant bass face. It was so good. So much filth.
Loving it.
But I am
come over to the dark side.
It's like, oh, give me more.
What about you, El?
Yeah, the jury's still out for me. That's the first time I've seen him as well. I need to listen to him more. I'll definitely listen to the new album when it comes out on Friday because it seems to be getting really good reviews. One of the weird things was that when we see them with Parkway, they had no bass player, and apparently there was an injury to the drummer, and the bass player had to go and play drums for them.
I thought Lorna Shore were, I thought they were quite good. I've been listening to them for a while, and obviously lots before the gig, and they're as heavy live as they are on digital, on recording. Just immensely heavy.
Yeah, it's filth. That's all it is. It's pure filth.
Yeah, I would
Pure
like to hear
filth.
them in a smaller venue as well.
Yeah, true. I think if they did do or when they do their own shows, they play smaller venues. I can see them really pack it out like smaller venues in London, and it'd be just ridiculous.
I think they're on American tour after this, aren't they? Along with Parkway.
Yeah,
Not 100% sure, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, that's quite sold out as well. So yeah, it needs to come over here, definitely.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, yeah, looking forward to The Pain Remains. Is it Pain Remains? The album out Friday.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, it shall be good. Now, shall we get on to Parkway?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, man. I suppose the one thing, the newer songs on the newer album did sound sort of better live than I thought.
Yeah, it's still not quite there though. There's something about them. I don't know if I'm just jaded because I just don't like it. But
yeah.
They didn't feel out of place as I felt they would do in the set list.
You could certainly tell the difference though. Like when they played the earlier stuff in the first sort of few songs, everyone was up and moving, and as soon as they started playing the new ones, it was just like still.
Yeah.
Not much going on. So.
Yeah, it was. I think it's just a different Parkway now, isn't it? It's not that Parkway that played the Underworld and played the Roundhouse and played even Brixton. It's not that Parkway no more. Even Brixton was out when Reverence come out, and they played that, and it's still, I think, no, IRE, sorry. Still got both of them albums sort of still got mixed reviews from fans, but I think this one is over the board sort of, I wouldn't say disliked because I don't like saying it, but not received as well as others.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people say they like it though. That's the thing. Like I've heard a lot of people say they like it more than Reverence, which I find insane. But I guess it might depend on when you got into them. Maybe if you got in further in on the back end, you might not find the shift as big as someone who started listening to them on Horizons and Deep Blue.
True. So yeah, I don't know. But Jovis is right. When they started doing the older songs, if you want to call them that, live, it was a different atmosphere.
Yeah, totally.
And I think it's got they've sort of got lots of new fans on this album as well, haven't they? You can tell that there. Because seeing them many times. So yeah, it's which is I've said to James before. I think I said to you, I understand why they've done it. I think they've done it because, my opinion, because cashing in is the wrong word, but they're doing it to earn a bit of money. I mean, they've been doing it 17 years, and they've pumped all the money into their live shows before, didn't they? So all the money they earned, they put into their live shows. But yeah, I think they're doing it for financial gain, and I think it shows.
Yeah.
Well, they want those headliner slots, and those old headliners aren't going to be around forever. And that's your best way of doing it, is trying to appeal to as many people as possible. That's where the real money is. Like, Metallica haven't been around for so long because they're earning peanuts. It's about playing headlines at festivals.
Yeah, I do understand that. I think maybe American radio as well. Because obviously they play a lot more metal than us, don't they, on their radios and rock. I think maybe breaking into radio plays and royalties, and it just makes you bigger. That's why I laugh, but that's why I call them a Parkway Death Punch, because it's sort of it's sort of the road they're going down, which is up to them. But for me, just as me listening to the album, I just yeah, just as a fan of old, what to say it like that, it wasn't not for me.
Definitely not for me.
But I think most bands do one, don't they?
Yeah.
But they were still fair alive. They were all right. They come out. Definitely not the best time I've seen them, but they did what they do. And
Yeah, I still thought it was really good.
yeah, it was good. The sound was good.
Yeah, and then the fireworks and stuff worked really well in the flames. Like, they've got a good stage show now.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things it is. I think we said it, James, didn't we? It's a show. It's not. You don't go. It's sort of you're not going to a metal gig. You go. Well, you are, but you're going to more of a show now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's fire, lights, costume changes, and and everything in between. Bit dodgy costume changes.
Yeah. Fucking Backstreet Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So Parkway Drive. Yeah. Should we get into what James brought up during a week, the arguments that is been going on? It's a disagreement, I believe, online with Sebastian Bach and Falling in Reverse frontman Ronnie Radke. Is that how you pronounce it?
I think so. Yeah, Ronnie Radke. I don't really know much of their music. I just heard.
I've heard of him.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've heard some of their music.
Here we go. No, I just heard that he had made an announcement on online, said they had to cancel a show at Will Rock, I think it was, festival, because their laptops were missing. So there's this whole thing about the old school metalhead now kicking up, saying, "Oh, you wouldn't like that. It wasn't like that when we were playing," and things like that. And I think they got the impression that it's the backing tracks are doing all the playing and they're not doing anything. Well, it's not the case. There's like two extremes. I get why they do it, but yeah, sort of the old school metalheads are sort of kicking up and saying that you shouldn't have to use all that stuff to make to put on a show. But technology's moved on so much now that it is actually part of it, because it comes with it. All the bands that we see now have got intros, outros, even like the lighting or changing of sound effects for guitars and stuff. It's all done by that now. So it's kind of like the engine that runs the whole thing. But of course, the musicians are still playing. But I think they're under the impression that they're not singing. So all these old school, point going up because it's just a backing track. Well, that's not the case. Because they're still performing. If they're not, they've got the backing tracks to just fill the sound and make it feel more authentic. And they're calling out all these bands that don't use them, like Queen or Aerosmith, but they do use them. So yeah, it's quite funny actually seeing it all sort of unravel. I'm definitely on Ronnie Radke's side, to be honest. I get where the other guys are coming from, but it's, like I say, technology's moved on. And if you was to see like someone like Luna Shore or Parkway Drive with no backing tracks, it'd be a very different experience. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. What's your thoughts on it?
Well, I think, yeah, similar to yours. I think most bands these days, if not all, use backing tracks, and well, a lot of, I think, what would you say, new metal, from new metal to metalcore? Metalcore definitely, I think, from the beginning probably has some sort of backing track. I think they were the ones that sort of molded that backing track and live music together. Yeah, as you said, it's technology. It's what's going on. And them sound like what about Kiss and everyone else that goes up there and don't even play a note? Not about a backing track. I'm pretty sure
exactly.
they just mime.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, definitely.
But
Yeah, but bands like even like Queen and things like that, you know, when they play in Bohemian Rhapsody, they all go off the stage and that middle section is playing. That's a backing track because they don't play that bit live. That's when, like, you know, costume changes and things like that or whatever's happening. But it's been going on for ages. It's just been like, it's just evolved more. You know, pretty much the entire set of what Luna Shaw did was a backing track because you had an outro and intros for every song. There was always something happening. There was never anything. It was never quiet. You know what I mean? There was always something sort of eerie happening or another build up, and that just adds to it. Like I said, there's a load more stuff involved in it. But it's just quite funny seeing these old metalheads sort of kicking up and saying, "Oh, no, you can't play," or they're not real musicians or things like that. Like, that's all shit. Come on. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's that is what it is. I think they would always be stuck in there. And don't get me wrong, I love the old musicians, and if you want to call them that, and the earlier bands was what metal and music, as we know it, was founded on. But I don't know about Sebastian Bach, but I don't know what was founded on him. But no, it's I think the radio personality Eddie Trunk got involved, didn't he, as well?
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Putting in his 2 pennies worth, as it were.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's it is what it is. They're live. I think it probably makes for a better experience live because you've got the musicians, as you said, they're still playing, they're still doing their thing, but it's just it's just something extra. I think maybe, but there could probably potentially be too much in some cases if you wanted to make it more about that than actually playing. And but the way it is at the minute, I don't think it is.
It depends how much is used. I know Tommy Lee got caught out recently. Someone had like a fan film video and then their backing track was playing. And all of a sudden the drum started kicking in and he wasn't ready. And he's like, oh shit, we're going to start playing now.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
Everybody uses
going too far.
Supposed to be ready.
Yeah, I think all in all, back tracks and technology and music, if you want to call it that, is can only be a good thing if used rightly and used correctly. I mean, I think Meshuggah used the lighting. I think there's still some geezers doing it in there, like some geezer pressing all the buttons.
Yeah,
he's got a great job. But,
too much space on the hard drive, they can't fit all that in, so he has to do it himself.
and the technology can't keep up with Meshuggah at the minute.
No, it's another level.
Yeah, man. Yeah, cool. Anything else?
No.
Yeah, man. Some good as I say, waiting for good albums. Some good gigs coming up. We've got November is, I think, August Burns Red. December, Bleed From Within and Lamb of God, as we talked earlier, and all the good stuff in between.
Yeah, I've got Converge coming up as well.
Nice. And many more midweek metal podcasts and YouTube videos or whatever you want to call them in between. And yeah, man. Peace. See you soon.